Building up post-apocalyptic civilizations after your apocalyptic event can vary significantly depending on your event, but in this video I'm going to discuss the aspect of localization and the different ways and reasons as to why things happen straight after an apocalypse. So, with the fall of the old governments and civilizations and worlds, whether there's zombies in it or not, generally speaking, tightly knit groups form almost immediately. It could be as small as just one person bombing about on themselves, which I guess technically isn't a group, or it could just be a group of neighbours, just your family, your work colleagues, if you're on holiday at a resort. But the primary reason for this is because you're with people that you knew and recognized before the apocalypse, and you have a level of trust with them which may or may not be misplaced depending on where you are and what these scenes are doing around you. Of course, someone could be perfectly nice, but if an apocalyptic event happened and suddenly you need water and food, are they going to share it with you, or would they rather keep it for their own family? And that brings me on to, of course, the dynamic of if you're alone when an apocalyptic event is happening or in a post-apocalyptic world, your behavior is likely going to be different than if you were with your family. So if you're with a family, are you going to take more risks with a family about, or are you going to take less risk? Are you going to be more hostile to protect your family and want to perhaps attack others for the safety of your own, or are you likely to try and be friends with others or just keep silent completely? Now, in such groups, obviously numbers is power to begin with, because if you have more people, you're less likely to be attacked. And in a place where the first strike advantage is a thing, which is essentially like if you attack someone first, you're basically going to win because the other people are going to be unsuspecting, or perhaps they thought you were nice. It's not a great world to be in, so you want to have your guard up, you want to be ready, and some characters will just go and attack because they would rather not take that risk at all. And others will want to be perhaps a little bit nicer and try and figure something out and build their group into something more. Of course, also having high numbers means more eyes for the basic necessities of food, water and shelter. But again, this can still cause either external conflict with strangers wanting to get in on it as well, or internal conflict if there isn't enough to go around in your group, which would then bring you on to the structure of the group. And if there's a hierarchy, if there's going to be some sort of government forming to try and control who gets the food and water, or if it's dished out evenly, or if it's finders keepers. But that, of course, is down to you. On one end, you have Mad Max, where it's pretty much, you get indoctrinated into I guess a religion, where you want to go to the chrome halls of Valhalla. And, on one side, you have extreme poverty, where people are, they've got diseases, they've got no water, they've got no food, they're struggling. And on the other end, you've got the bloke at the top who's got all the water in the world, living a luxury life, got greenery around him, whatever he wants, food. And he controls the flow of it, so he has the power. He can make trades if he wants with his water, sending it off and getting oil and then getting it delivered back. But the divide is quite extreme, and you can see that even visually when he's way up high talking to the group of people at the bottom. Of course, he has nothing to do with because he's above them, literally, as well as I'm sure internally as well, he thinks. And then on the other side, which I'll reference Walking Dead again, you've got places that are trying to do things fairer. Everyone has their say. There's perhaps a little bit of a voting system going on. People can say yes and no to this, that and the other. And that, although that's a nicer area to have, there is technically more opportunity for conflict because it's a nicer area to have. They've made a nice community, but if someone wants to take more and cause an issue, they can. Whereas in the Mad Max scenario, no one can really cause an issue because you'll probably either be ignored or just killed. So that's always a good thing to think about. And of course, either side of this, there are jobs that are then created. So, with Mad Max, people are repairing vehicles, doing them up, they're getting tattoos, they're kind of loving life, working for their boss and, going to the chrome halls of Valhalla. There is still a level of stability there for them. And then, of course, if, again, referencing Walking Dead, there are jobs created, scavengers, guards, cooks, maintenance, just general day-to-day things, which brings back a sense of normality and comfort in a world that has changed. But yes, in post-apocalyptic, like my own book Displaced and like Wheel of Time, like government structures that are formed and cities tend to be more solid than sort of the recent like Walking Dead, Mad Max, where they are there but then they're not concrete there. Like, things can change very quickly, where when enough time has passed and there's either enough loyalty or enough progress where things become less hostile, people just want to go about their day, people have jobs again, things calm down, and the world is starting to become less susceptible to change. And of course, they often forget that the world even had an apocalypse, or they think it's more of a legend and won't happen again. Though currency can tend to be more of a thing in the later game, whereas of course, recent turn apocalypse, it's bartering, trading, figuring out what you want, figuring out what someone else wants, and doing that trade instead of cold hard cash. But yes, that's it for this video. Though I wanted to keep it short and sweet, I do feel like I've talked a fair amount, but hopefully I've covered some topics and given some insight into how to structure and think about an emerging civilization or a group of people when coming out of an apocalyptic event. But yes, please do subscribe if you enjoy this video. I'm going to be talking about the common cause next after a post-apocalyptic event and how it affects the emerging civilizations, along with traveling and basing a new society on the old and what the reasons are for and against that. So yeah, thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.